For local businesses, it's always a top priority to keep customers walking in the door. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the single most important marketing investment you're going to make, especially if you're a brand new business. And if you get this thing wrong, you could actually be driving away prospective customers. So what is this marketing investment that's so important? Am I talking about your logo, your website, your flyers? No, I'm actually talking about something much more basic, which is your signage. If you want to have a successful local business, it really is so important to capture the attention of people who are walking or driving by your establishment. And there's nothing that does that quite as effectively as a good sign. But how do you make sure that you're getting the most out of your signage? Now, that said, don't get too hung up on looks. If you have to choose between having crappy signage or no signage at all, please go with the crappy signage. Let me tell you how important this is as it was for our business. When we first started construction on Urban Martial Arts, we had two really inexpensive plastic corrugated signs made that said "Coming Soon." It had our logo, our phone number, our email address, and our website. And the same day, literally the same day that those signs went up, we started getting emails and phone calls from prospective customers, so we were able to start building our database right away. It was really, really exciting. Now, the building that we're in was a gut renovation, and the landlord was really dragging his feet on finishing the fixtures that we needed in order to put up the permanent signage. So while we waited for him to do that, all we did is we took down the same cheapo signs that we had made, we cut out the words "Coming Soon," pasted them back up on the windows, and those were our signs. And it wasn't pretty, but it definitely worked. And it worked so well that by just the second or third month, we were already making enough in revenue to break even with our monthly expenses. And that simply would not have happened if we hadn't had signs up. Now, were we doing other kinds of marketing? Of course. But in those early days, whenever we asked people how they heard about us, 80 to 90% of the people would say that they heard about us by walking or driving by the school. Okay, so how do you get the best bang for your buck when it comes to signage? Here's 5 tips to keep in mind. Tip 1. Decide if the sign should be permanent or temporary. This is important because it's going to determine what you do and do not include on the sign. So your main sign is going to be the most expensive item that you buy when it comes to signage. So you want to make sure that this lasts a long time and you don't have to replace it too quickly. So on your main sign, you want to, of course, have the name of your business, your contact information. And it's also a good idea to make it clear what you do and whom you do it for, because that may not always be as evident to your customer as it is to you. But the thing is, you should make sure that you only include information on this sign that you think will still be accurate 5 years from now. For example, if you own a dance studio, by all means say on your main sign that you offer ballet and ballroom dancing lessons for kids and adults, because those are very established disciplines that 5 years from now there's probably still going to be a demand for. But you may not want to put your Zumba classes on your main sign just because Zumba is still such a new thing and the jury is still out as to whether this is just a passing fad or something that's here to stay. For something like Zumba, something that you're not sure if you're still going to have or offer 5 years from now, use temporary signage to promote that. Temporary signs are also great to promote seasonal items, to promote limited time sales, and other things of that nature. And here's a quick tip. For our temporary signs at Urban Martial Arts, I like to use corrugated plastic boards that are attached to the inside of our windows with suction cups. And the reason that this works really well is that corrugated plastic will not be damaged by any condensation to your windows, unlike foam core or other types of materials. And the suction cups hold the signs in place really well without leaving any kind of sticky residue like you might get if you use tape or any other kind of adhesive. And also, corrugated plastic is pretty inexpensive, so the price is right. Tip number 2, use a mix of external and internal signage. Now, external signage is kind of a no-brainer since that's what you need to attract people to walk into your space. But don't overlook the importance of internal signage. Internal signs are really good, especially for communicating to your existing customers. So at Urban Martial Arts, we use internal signs to let students know about upcoming tournaments, about upcoming belt tests, special events we're doing, days we're going to be closed, any special discounts or sales or specials that we're offering. Internal signs are also a great way to tie into your social media efforts. So you can use internal signs to ask people to check into your location, to follow you on Twitter, like you on Facebook, or also to write reviews of your business on your Yahoo or your Google pages. Tip number 3, decide on your goal and include a call to action. Every sign you create should have a goal attached to it. So you want to be very clear on what you want the person to do as a result of seeing the sign. Do you want them to call you, visit your website, walk in, make a purchase? Whatever it is, decide on what action you would like the person to take and put a big and bold call to action right on the sign. To give you an example, we have a sign right now that's promoting our after-school program. And on that sign, I say, call us or come in, because those are the actions that I want the person to take. Now, in addition to that, I also have our URL on there, just in case that someone is seeing this sign at a time that we're closed and they can't call or come in. At least they know how to access our website and get more information there. Tip number 4, keep it short and sweet. You want to put just enough information on your sign to generate the response that you're looking for. If you put anything more on there and clutter it up, it's probably going to decrease the likelihood that your customer takes the action that you're looking for. Tip number 5, use basic design principles. When you're creating the sign, keep the user in mind, especially in terms of how far they're going to be standing away from the sign. If you're using 10-point type, are they going to be able to read that from that distance? If not, then you want to bump up the type size. Now, signs are always easier to read if there's a lot of contrast between the background and the text. Now, you can experiment with colors, but you don't have to go too crazy, because black type on white background always works. It's a classic, so don't be afraid to use it. If you want to incorporate photography into your sign, you're better off picking one good picture and blowing it up rather than using a bunch of smaller, crappier pictures, because having one good picture creates a cleaner look and it really has a better visual impact. And finally, use no more than 2 different kinds of fonts. And please, whatever you do, stay away from Comic Sans and what I like to call the Ching Chong font, because both of those fonts have been scientifically proven to repel customers, so don't use them. So remember, if you want to make the most of your signage, keep these 5 tips in mind. Decide if the sign should be permanent or temporary. Use a mix of external and internal signage. Decide on your goal and include a call to action. Keep it short and sweet. Use basic design principles.
Graphics and signs. For all your sign and graphics needs. Akron, Canton, graphics and signs. acgsigns.com